Welcome back to the Go to Go podcast, man. Episode 79. NBA All-Star break just wrapped up last week, man. Jumping back into the second half of games. I believe all teams under 30 games left remaining in the season. That last leg push. Teams borderline, teams trying to contend, trying to get playoff seeding, man. In this episode, we'll talk a little bit hot or not, and then talk about a few teams around the league, what's going on this past week after the All-Star break. So why don't you go ahead, start us off with your hot or not this week.
All right. Well, in honor of getting back into basketball, we'll start you off with your favorite team. So we'll get into it. Hot or not, the Miami Heat can continue to coast and then be competitive in the postseason like they have the last couple seasons.
I mean, it is not a hot take. You said it last couple seasons they kind of done this. You know, the Heat get back from the All-Star break, who finished the All-Star break off real hot. I believe at the time they had won maybe 7 of their last 9. 6 of their last 8, whatever it was. Regardless, they come in, they're 8-2 in their last 10 now. Coming off, the first game where they got into that all-out altercation, benches clearing, Jimmy kind of making a statement saying, I'm back, I'm him, Thomas Bryant, from the bench throwing some hands, Jokic getting involved, man. This is a chippy team. I kind of think that's what Jimmy wanted in that situation, just sort of like wake-up call, let's lock in, let's not get the play-in like they did last year where they're fighting for their life and, a couple seconds away from missing the playoffs in that play-in tournament and end up going to the finals. I mean, it's every year. The Heat were a 1 seed when they matched up against them Celtics a few years back. They were a top team last year. They were an 8 seed that went all the way to the NBA Finals, falling short of the Denver Nuggets. But this is a team that's going to compete. Playoff Jimmy, we know he's different. He's been banged up this year, a lot of rest. So hopefully saving a little extra in the tank because late in that postseason, it always seems like he runs out of gas. Bam's playing well, hoping to get Rozier back at some point. Jay Rich still out as well. Hero, can he stay healthy in the postseason? He's been out in key moments. I mean, from the bubble to last season, getting injured in the playoffs. And I really think all the pieces are coming together. Jaquez playing some good ball. I mean, Duncan Robinson back to being the Duncan Robinson they paid shooting out of his mind. Not last night against the Kings, but they got a dub against the Kings. No Butler, no Rozier. It was Bam and company really led the way with Jaquez as well. So I like what I'm seeing from that young core. And then the veterans, we know what they're going to do. Question is Bam and Hero going to be able to step up and be true superstars? Even Rozier, if healthy, late in the game, can they get a bucket other than Butler? Because if it's not him making a tough shot, that's really where they struggle. Late game down the stretches, getting a bucket when needed. And if it wasn't, Jimmy throwing up a prayer, hitting some crazy move and one, there was really no late game offense from that team. So that's why I like the addition of Rozier. Let's just see if they can put it together in the postseason. But, I mean, it's not a hot take. They've done it, this whole Jimmy era. So, I mean, there's nothing new at this point.
All right. Second one is hot or not. This Warriors team has a chance to be Western Conference final contenders.
I'm going to say that's not a hot take, man. Ever since, late before the All-Star break, they really turned it up. Steph Curry, he's playing at an MVP level. He's really carrying this team. You got the rookie they benched Clay for. I'm drawing a blank real quick.
Podziemski?
Yeah. He's been hooping. And then I did see something, Draymond staying out of trouble. Like, you got your core. And trust me, I do think Clay's going to get back on track. It's going to be one of my questions as well towards you about the Warriors. But I just think that this team, too much experience. Stephen Curry being the best shooter on the planet, he can really help a team out. And when you extend that deep from the 3, you're able to do so much down low in the paint. Kuminga, he's really stepping up, being a force down low on the block around the rim. It could be scary. You got the best shooter on the planet in Steph Curry. And anyone tries to argue that they can't, go on a Western Conference run. I mean, there's some tough teams out there that could definitely compete, but to count the Warriors out after, what they've done, Curry, even Clay. I mean, it doesn't matter. And they got some young guys that have been stepping up as well. So, not a hot take.
All right, and then the last one is hot or not. Nikola Jokic is the clear-cut MVP as of right now.
I'm going to say that's a little bit of a hot take. I do think Jokic is the MVP, and I think, the Nuggets might be getting a bit overlooked in that Western Conference a little bit. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. But I do think he's up there. I mean, I really think there's 3 or 4 guys you could throw into the mix right now. I mean, I've heard Luka's name come up a couple times, but obviously SGA, he's out there leading the Thunder, man. He's averaging over 30 a game as well. And Edwards is also elevated play. He's kind of creeping up on that back end as well. I don't think he's getting the credit he deserves. But, I mean, I'm going to say, yeah, Jokic is the clear-cut MVP. This guy, he just does it every night, daily basis. And when you think, he's kind of taking it easy, it doesn't matter. He drops like 15 assists on you. We talked about it last year in the finals, man. Oh, stop him from doing this. He does everything so well. It doesn't matter what you try to stop. He'll find a way for his team to succeed, and he's the reason the Nuggets are NBA champions, and they're able to do things like this because of how good Nikola Jokic actually is. So I'm going to say the race isn't clear-cut, but I think end of the season we might be talking about it differently. Jokic winning yet another MVP in Denver.
Those are my 3.
All right, man. So, first one up, man. Hot or not, it is championship or bust for this Celtics duo, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
So are we saying championship or bust in terms of like their ceiling or like them together as a tandem, like this Celtics team?
This Celtics
like this season.
I'm talking about just strictly the core of Tatum and Brown. Do you think, if they don't win a championship or at least get sniff anywhere close to the, the finals, is it time to kind of move on from this duo?
I would say that's not a hot take, and the way I think of it or look at it is like if you would ask that question to Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown themselves, what would they say? And I think they would agree that that's their goal. They've been super close. We saw they made the finals a couple years back against the Warriors, fell short, came 1 game away from the finals again last year. So especially this duo, they've been in the playoffs. They've had over 100 playoff games combined together ever since, was it like 2017, 2018, around there, when they came into the league. This Celtics team has always had some postseason and playoff success. They just haven't gotten over that hump yet. And I know it's the joke. Everyone always makes fun of Jason Tatum, kind of like the Ben Simmons, but he's still only like 25, 26 years old. Jason Tatum still has room to grow and become a better NBA player than what he is right now. And I think Jaylen Brown is definitely solid enough to be a number 2. And then if you look at what they've added to this team this season, I know this isn't, just between Tatum and Brown, but the core of guys they have around, you bring in guys like Derek White, you bring in Kristaps Porzingis, who unlocks a whole new type of offensive threat for this team, where you have a 7'3" unguardable guy that can stretch the floor and space. You bring in Drew Holiday. Now you have, 2 backcourt guys with him and Derek White who can defend on elite levels. You still have Horford there. You got some guys coming off the bench that can shoot the ball as well. So I believe they're the best 3-point shooting team right now. So the Boston Celtics are arguably, if not the best team in the league right now. I believe they still have the best record. So I would definitely say it's championship or bust for the team that's looking like the best team in the league right now, especially with, like you mentioned, that duo. They have the experience. They've gotten very close. So now you just need to see Jason Tatum elevate, take that one extra step in the postseason, in the playoffs, and then maybe Jaylen Brown can go left. But no, all jokes aside, I do think it's championship or bust for this team. And I think if you ask any other Celtics fan, any Celtics player, anyone else around this team, that's their expectation. So, yeah, I think it will definitely be championship or bust. And, if they fail to get it within, the next couple seasons, next 2 or 3 seasons, I would say is the legit window with this too. Maybe you move off of Jaylen Brown, he hits the open market, and maybe he gets one like a Fred VanVleet contract, something like that. Gets one of those max deals. Somebody else will pay him a bunch of money to be the number one option on a bad team. But yeah, these two should definitely be looking to win a championship in the very near future, if not this season.
Yeah, no doubt. Next one I had up for you, man. Hot or not, Klay Thompson can still be a star in this league.
I'm going to say that's a hot take, but I don't think the Warriors need Klay Thompson to be a star for them to have success in the postseason or, the way their team is constructed right now. You kind of touched on it. A lot of those young guys stepping up. Jonathan Kuminga, ever since he's called out Steve Kerr in the media, it must have did something, because ever since then he's been playing a lot better. Steve Kerr has been trusting him more. So whatever that did, whatever, spark that may come up or whatever, it's working. Jonathan Kuminga's been a lot more efficient. You see him doing a lot more as well. Before it was like he just wants to score. He wants to be the main guy. Now he's playing defense. He's being a lot more aggressive. He's not shooting as much. He's using his athleticism, attacking the rim. And then when you're playing with someone like Stephen Curry, who you mentioned is the best shooter in the world, you get a lot of open looks because he pulls so much attention from the defense. And then Draymond coming back healthy. As much as we like to make fun of Draymond, I mean, he's still a super, super valuable player on the court with his defense. The way he's able to pass and run that offense and work that system, he's vital for Stephen Curry coming off those screens, those little dribble handoffs. It's like the chemistry they have. He just knows exactly where Curry's going, where he wants the ball to help Curry get that amazing shot off. And then Podziemski, I think, is the real key because he's coming in, he's replacing Klay Thompson, and he's kind of like, a do-it-all guy. He's able to shoot the three. He can create offense. He's a secondary ball handler where if you want to get Curry going off the ball, Podziemski can handle it himself, run offense. He's an amazing rebounder for a guard. He's like 6'3", 6'4", and he just crashes the boards like crazy. I think that's, a really big deal as well. Having, those extra help, rebounds, offensive boards and stuff like that. He's an amazing rebounder. And then you mentioned you still got that core. You still got Gary Payton there who can come off, be some solid defense. Looney, backup big man. Trace Jackson Davis, the young guy, but he's, solid size in the paint as well. So I think all of these other players elevating their game kind of can mask Klay Thompson taking a step back. And then if Klay's coming off the bench, this is the first time in his career he's going against the second unit. So, if he's not able to be the Klay Thompson of old due to, 2 catastrophic injuries back-to-back, which is understandable, he can kind of, just go out there and hoop, be free, and play against the second unit. And then if he's going to be on that second unit with Chris Paul when he eventually comes back from his injury within, the next couple of games or weeks or whatever, I think that'll make Klay Thompson's job a lot easier as well, because now you have Chris running the second unit. He's going to be able to set Klay Thompson up. Klay Thompson's going to get a lot more open shots. So I don't think Klay Thompson is going to be a star anymore. I think, those days are kind of behind him. He's kind of, washed Klay at this moment, but I think he can still be a very valuable asset in terms of shooting the ball, creating offense. And if all those other guys stepped up, like I mentioned and like you touched on, they don't need Klay to do that anymore. He can just come in, get a little hot streak, put up a few points off the bench, and that should be more than enough for this Warriors team, the way they're constructed. With Stephen Curry, who you mentioned is playing at, still an elite top 10 player level, I think that should be good enough for that Warriors team to compete in the Western Conference.
Yeah, my last hot or not, man, before I get into it. So NBA Power Rankings currently has the Denver Nuggets third in the Western Conference. So, hot or not, the Nuggets are being overlooked in the West.
I'm going to just say that is a hot take because we saw what the Nuggets are capable of last season, and then we all know what Nikola Jokic is capable of. I don't think he should ever be, overlooked in terms of being the third best team or whatever. But I do want to give the other teams credit. I'm sure there's the Clippers and Thunders that they have over them.
It's Thunder, T-Wolves.
Oh, the T-Wolves, because the T-Wolves have been playing
the Clippers
pretty
are
solid.
right after them. So
yeah, so I mean, I understand it. The Timberwolves have been playing really good basketball as of late, and they get a lot of hype from last season. Especially that first round playoff matchup against the Nuggets, where Nikola Jokic had a okay game against them. It's like they found a way to stop Jokic. They made it super competitive. I think one of the games went to OT or something like that. With all the size that the Timberwolves have, you got Karl Anthony Towns, you got Rudy Gobert, you have Naz Reid. Those are three big men that are able to, even if you can't stop Jokic, just three bodies you'll be able to throw at him, and Rudy Gobert, who's a defensive player of the year, is always going to be in that race. So I think, yes, the Timberwolves definitely pose a big threat. And you mentioned Anthony Edwards. He's elevated his game, but I just don't think you can count out Nikola Jokic yet, because although they did have all that success, although they were able to find ways to kind of, exploit the Nuggets still ended up winning in 4 games. So regardless, I think when Nikola Jokic is logged in and he's playing at the top of his game, it's going to be tough to stop him. And then in terms of the OKC Thunder, I don't know how you feel about them, but I want to say they're like a player or season away, but they're just a fun team to watch.
I agree. I just don't think the experience level, even SGA, who's their leader and their star player. I mean, his experience isn't very high. He's never played in high stakes games, this and that. So I kind of agree with you. I think they can make a run, but I just think the inexperienced mistakes down the line is postseason is gonna be costly.
I think so as well, but you got to think like that experience has to come from somewhere. So I mean,
no doubt they might be able to make a run, but I mean,
listen,
are they gonna be as dangerous as the Nuggets?
I feel you, but if they're able to catch a break, let's say they catch the Warriors and maybe the Lakers figure out the way and they play the Lakers, and then if they're able to duck these super like the threats that we see, like I think they'll have some trouble with a team like the Clippers, just due to all the athleticism and all the scoring they have. And then a team like, I think the Timberwolves will give them some challenges as well because of the size. So if they're able to, a couple teams get knocked off, if it shakes out the right way, like if they get the right matchups, it wouldn't be crazy to see the OKC Thunder in the finals. Now, like you mentioned, would it be likely? I don't think so. But the way this team is constructed, the way they're playing, I mean, SGA, like right now, he's just, besides Jokic, if you want to talk about consistency, man, like he just gets to his spots. He doesn't shoot the ball.
The whole floor is his spot, it looks like.
Exactly, yeah. Like
every level.
He doesn't shoot the three amazing, but if he's open, he'll knock it down. But, that little midi, those little turnarounds, and the way he's able to kind of like contort his body, slow down, change of pace, almost like Luka, but he's more athletic and a little. It looks long. Well, not longer.
It looks
but
awkward.
But it still works. It's effective. He gets fouled. He knocks down the free throws at an insane level. And then Jalen Williams has also stepped up. J-Dub, he's been a super, super good player for them off of the wing. He's scoring the ball too. And then I think Chet, all last season we were talking about this team has everything. They're just missing a big man. Well, now they have Chet, who's pretty much been a plug and play big man for this team, is exactly what they need. I think a little bit more big man depth would help them, so you can have someone else out there besides Chet, give him some solid minutes when he's not out, give the team some solid minutes when he's not on the floor. But besides that, I think this Thunder team definitely has all the makings. And then if you want to talk about the future, not just this season, you want to talk about, draft capital, all the picks they have. They can trade for a superstar. They're going to be able to move some of those things around so they can make moves to get better. But I think the way this team is constructed right now, probably not this season, but within the next couple seasons, I think if everyone keeps projecting on the track that they are, this Thunder team can be super dangerous. But back to your question, I think the Nuggets definitely are being underrated. We just saw Jokic have a 30, 15, and 15 game. Like, he's just doing some, like, just stuff you just don't see. It's insane.
I did, speaking of the Thunder real quick, let's keep it on the Nuggets real quick, and then I'll go to the Thunder. I was just thinking back to that last finals of, Jokic and how dominant he was, but it was really that two-man game with Jamal Murray. They looked like the dynamic 1-2 punch. Obviously, Murray, he's having a solid season, but he's not jumping out because he's on a team with Jokic. But we know him in the playoffs, he's able to elevate in that high pick and roll, man. You try to trap. You're leaving, Jokic, and then help defense collapse. You're gonna find a shooter. That's where the Bruce Brown game and I forget the
MPJ had a
MPJ, the white boy.
Christian Brown.
Christian Brown, Braun Brown. Yep. That's what creates that, because that's what the Heat were doing, high traps and whatever. There's really no true way to stop that team. You surround them with shooters and guys that can attack the rim and just not stand there. You open those backdoor cuts. It's just, I was just thinking about it. Give me PTSD. You can't stop that team. Like, they're just.
No, you can't. And you mentioned, like, earlier when I asked you how to not about the Nuggets and Jokic, like, he literally does everything at an elite level offensively. He does everything so well. I also think, playing with Jokic, he gets the most out of his teammates, because since Jokic does everything so well, like, as a role player or as somebody playing off of him, you can do what you do best and you're good, because you don't have to worry about compromising or having to change your game, because you have someone in Nikola Jokic who can literally do everything. So whatever you're most comfortable with, you can just play that role. When you look at guys like Michael Porter Jr., what does he do best? Shoot the ball. That's all they really ask for him to do. Shoot the ball and grab a few boards. Now, if Nikola Jokic wasn't such a good playmaker, then maybe he's like, we're going to need you to playmake a little bit more, maybe put the ball on the ground more, create more offense for the other teammates. But he doesn't have to do that because he plays with Nikola Jokic. Now, when you look at someone like Aaron Gordon, what does he do really well? Plays super hard, attacks the rim, high energy. Well, that's the best kind of guy to be with playing against Nikola Jokic, because he's going to reward you, like you mentioned, on those backdoor cuts, rolling off of the screens, finding those open looks, and just making the game a lot more easier for you. When you look at a point guard like Jamal Murray, a solid shooter, elite ball handler, a really good playmaker, playing with someone like Nikola Jokic, knowing that he's going to be one of the best screeners in the league for you, he's going to be able to get to his spots and make your game a lot easier, knowing if you hit Nikola Jokic on a slip, that's basically an easy assist, or you hit him in the post, he can get it and kick it back out to you for an open look. So I think Nikola Jokic's best asset is just elevating every single person around him, because he lets everyone be themselves and be comfortable in the way they play. And when you're able to do that, you have more confidence, and everyone knows, the more confident you are, the better you're going to play. It's a confidence thing. It's a mind thing. So Nikola Jokic, the unique talent, I mean, it's no one really like him. I think you could say LeBron is like the closest thing we've seen to Nikola Jokic, but it's two completely different things. But I think LeBron did also have that same kind of ability to kind of, elevate teammates. That's why you saw, when he was on the Cavs and towards the Lakers, you see all those guys trying to run and play with LeBron. Why? Because LeBron is so good. He's going to make everyone better. And I think Jokic is pretty much on that same level in terms of elevating teammates and getting the best out of players, because it's just, you mentioned he's elite at everything. Like, that's all it is.
Yeah. And then along the lines of the Thunder, man, I was looking at NBA power rankings, and I saw a stat that Isaiah Joe, the guard, on the Thunder, when he either plays in Giddy's spot or Jalen Williams, Jalen with an L-E-N, when he plays in place of either one of those two guys, the Thunder outscore opponents by 119 points. So when he's on the court, and that's 38.6 per 100 possessions in those minutes. I mean, they might not even found their guy. I don't know. Maybe they just had some good stretches, but when he's out on the floor, the Thunder's game elevates the spacing. He's shooting 42% from the field. He's shooting 40% from threes. So, most of his shots are coming from, the tray ball, spaces that floor well, offers, good defensive body for a two guard, nothing crazy. But, I mean, when you have Chet who is locking down the paint, and then guys like J-Dub and company really holding it down. I mean, you can afford.
Casey Wallace has been a really good defender too, perimeter defender for them as well.
Mm-hmm. So when you mix that in, I mean, I just thought that was a crazy stat. 119 points for a guy that plays, I believe, 18 minutes a game. Yeah, 18.6. So he might be, the guy they lean on when they get late in the season, postseason. He might earn himself some more minutes at this point over guys like Giddey and, Jalen. But, I mean, still all real good talents. You can't go wrong with one of them. But they're looking for that right rotation. He might be in it. I did see something. The NBA does this every week. Biggest jumps, biggest plus minuses. I want you to, take a guess. Biggest plus minus this week. We've been talking about them.
Team or player?
Player. So there's a single player, highest plus minus.
East or West?
It's in the West. We've been talking about. I mean,
is it Jokic?
No, it's not Jokic.
Ant?
No.
Wait, he's not really. Yeah. I'm trying to think who we've been talking about in the West.
West. I mean,
SGA.
Yeah, SGA, yeah. And then they got one for the wrong way. The lowest plus minus at minus 57 in the last 3 games. I give you a hint. In the Eastern Conference, Washington Wizards.
Oh, that's a good hint, but there's a couple of names.
There's a couple of names.
So I know Jordan Poole. He's had a couple decent games as of late, and he's been coming off the bench. So I don't know if it's him. It's either him or Kuz.
It's Kuz.
Yeah,
man.
Kuz,
minus 57.
So, yeah, Kuz,
I thought that was a crazy
that
stat.
entire team is just like Marvin Bagley,
they're power ranked to last in the NBA, and that was Kuzma sending shots at the Pistons, who the Pistons are now ranked higher in power rankings wise. SGA plus 76 in the last week in 3 games, so plus minus is insane. Some cool stuff. The West is 171 and 133 this year against the East. But
that makes sense. The West is a lot deeper.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the East, you got the Pistons and you got the Wizards at bottom of the barrel. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that. We might as well touch on.
The West got some Spurs
Blazers.
And the Blazers. Those are.
Yeah.
Those are the East also got the Hornets. They're just not playing people right now.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies are.
I was thinking about throwing a little LaMelo hot or not, but it's just so hard to judge over there.
Don't get me started, bro.
In Charlotte.
I got him on my fantasy team, dog.
That's a mistake I never made again. Availability is the best ability. You're the one that told me that, bro.
Man, I didn't know we were going to be shutting players down in March, bro. I'm sorry.
Look at
their sprained ankle.
The Jazz have been pretty bad.
The Jazz, I think Kirk Goldsberry, he's analytic guy I follow on Instagram for the NBA and stuff like that. I believe there's he did like a chart or whatever. I can actually pull it up, showing like the best the offensive efficiency and like showing like how the offenses have like gone up
team wise or player
team wise, because there's been such a uptick and boom in terms of offensive play, and like everyone's just been scoring like out of their minds defense. Or whatever. Yeah, so it's it has to do with the 2017 Warriors, the team that had which one is the one with KD?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah, the 17 Warriors. Yeah, they were the top ranked offense. And then apparently it was a stat like every single team that played against the Jazz, I don't know if it was every single team, but pretty much any team playing against the Jazz in February like had a better offensive rating than that Warriors team in 2017, the 73-win Warriors. Yeah. The Jazz defense was like allowing like a higher offensive efficiency than the 17 Warriors. So like every team that was playing them had like a better offensive efficiency than that 73-win Warriors team, which I just thought was absolutely insane. So the Jazz, they got some solid players that can, score the ball and stuff like that. But defensively, they're clearly struggling. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
here's the stat. The Jazz have allowed 126.7 points per 100 over their last 10 games, and that was he posted that 3 days ago. So, yeah, the Jazz are just giving up points to whoever. And then he has the meme. It's like whoever's playing the Jazz in February 2024, the best offenses in NBA history. It's like the Showtime Lakers, the 96-97 Bulls, Katie Steph Warriors, and it's like whoever's playing the Jazz in February 2024.
I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna clip that little meme, throw it in the video so they see that one. But I mean, I see no lies there. And then I mean, you got the Grizzlies who, after Ja coming back, they looked rejuvenated, and then the injury to Ja shut them down. They're cooked for the season. I mean, the Bulls are just I don't know what they're doing. DeRozan's heard about getting traded. He goes ahead and shuts down for the season. That team's in shambles. But, I mean, I really think that the Timberwolves have finally found their groove in the Western Conference. I know this. I mentioned that hot or not of Jokic and the Nuggets kind of being overlooked. I really do think that Timberwolves team does match up best because, like you said, you could throw Cat at him. You could throw Gobert. And Cat being able to play on the perimeter himself, he'd be able to keep up with Jokic in some sort of fashion. You keep Rudy down low on the blocker regardless. His ability and his length to defend is, going to be key in, slowing down, limiting. I'm not even sure that'd be a right word for Jokic because there really is none. And I'm not a believer in the Celtics, man. I was just, for some reason, man,
well,
there's
with
something
the
about
Timberwolves, I agree with everything you say. The only thing that has me a little hesitant on them and like a little worried about, their true ceiling is their offense, and kind of the same issues you had with the Heat. Like if it's not Jimmy throwing up like a crazy shot, like who else is there? Like if it's not Anthony Edwards, like who else do you really have? And I know you have Karl Anthony Towns, who's arguably, the best shooting big in the league. He can stretch the floor. You saw him. He went out and had 60 points. Now, it wasn't a loss against the Hornets, but still shows, his elite scoring ability. But, outside of those two, and as good as Ant is, he's still super young. I believe he's younger than us. He still is really, he can have some streaky shooting games where, his shot isn't falling or the three ball isn't as consistent as you would like, but he's so athletic. The way he's able to get to the rim, able to attack, I think it's getting to the point where, that's one of those things you can't take away. He's going to get to his spots. But when you talk about the playoffs and you get into those longer games and those 7-game series, when games start to go 5, 6, 7 games and teams have time to game plan and kind of, they have time to sit there and take away what you do best. Who can that Timberwolves team defer to? I think you're going to have to see someone else step up. Like Jaden McDaniels, he's not really the best offensive threat. He's a really solid defender and a really good defender with size that can cause trouble for other teams. But offensively, he doesn't offer much. You see Naz Reid, but again, that's another big man, not really a guard creating a shot. They have Mike Conley, but another player at the end of his career. How much is Mike Conley really offering you at this point?
He used to be that DNA, man. He used to have the ice in his veins.
I mean, that was 10 years ago.
He's been in the league for a long time. He was playing with Zebo and them. Yeah, so.
He's been in the league for a while. So I think you're going to have to find another guard or wing that can step up outside of Anthony Edwards to provide some extra offense. Now, it might be Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He's played okay. He's shown some flashes, but, is he going to be able to step up in the big moments? We don't know. He's more of a bench or role player at this point. So I think the Timberwolves are just missing one spark guy, one guy that can just come in and give you immediate offense, because we mentioned the defense. They pretty much got that covered. They have the size. They got the wing defenders. They have Anthony Edwards, who's showing, a lot more effort in his athleticism. He's going to be able to play defense as well. So I just think if they're able to find some extra scoring from somewhere, then I would like this team a lot better. But you mentioned with their size, with their length, they're able to slow games down and kind of play that defense and, play to the pace they want. I do think they can give a lot of teams some trouble.
Yeah, I agree with the stuff. Ant's 22, by the way. So he is.
Yeah.
younger than us. That's crazy. Seems like he's been in the league for a little minute now.
Well,
I mean, he has,
1 year,
bro.
so he's
Yeah,
what? He was playing
3 years.
18, 19. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's been a lot of buzz about Darius Garland and kind of the Cavs. Can they be able to hold it? I was reading some Karis LeVert. Shot 3 for 21 over the last 2 losses, but 18 points and 12 rebounds on Sunday. They also went to him towards the end of the stretch instead of Max Strus, being a Heat guy. I've watched Max Strus. And when you got 2 guys in like DG and Donovan Mitchell who you want on the court at the same time, DG's been banged up this year. Donovan Mitchell just had an illness, missed the game. But when you have 2 guys like that, ball handlers, guys that could score, Karis LeVert, not really catch and shoot guy, are we going to see Max Strus like we did in the first half of the season where he's in down the stretch over Karis LeVert? I don't think Strus has been playing, too well in Cleveland. I know when they play the Heat, he didn't play too well. But regardless of the fact, I mean, the Cavs got to work out that rotation because LeVert is a good guard. Strus just played 11 minutes last game against the Mavericks. LeVert taking his minutes. He's averaging 12 points on 33% from 3, which is not the clip. He's kind of expected. He was sitting at 35% last year and 41 the year before for the Heat. So if he could step it up a little, I think the Cavs, could be dangerous with those big men. I mean, Donovan's been close to, advancing deep in the playoffs if it wasn't, in and out shot from Mike Conley and whatnot. I mean, Donovan, he's got that playoff experience to a certain degree. So I think the Cavs, the sleeper team in the East, man, there's a lot of buzz, the Knicks, obviously the Celtics. I'm just not a big believer. The Bucks are still in the mix, of course. You still got the Sixers, injured Embiid. If he gets back right, what that team could be. Obviously the Heat company, but I really do think, for the first time since LeBron, the Cavs could be legit contenders in the East.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say legit contenders personally, but I do think they can go on a playoff run. But to me, the biggest
Eastern Conference contender.
Well, yeah, to me, the biggest point they have to figure out is what they want to do with Mobley and Jared Allen. Now, I know over the last couple weeks, Mobley's been, shooting the ball a lot more efficiently, but it's been on super low volume. Like, he's been taking, 1 3-pointer a game. So, you would like to see him be able to stretch the floor a little bit more, coming in when he was drafted. It's like he can score on all 3 levels, add a little spacing. When then you bring over Jared Allen, who's pretty much, predominantly a pick and roller, paint guy, not, moving too far from the basket. Well, if you have 2 guys in this modern NBA that can't play away from the basket, you're just going to get shot out of the gym. They're going to run you off the floor in terms of scoring. So either Mobley has to elevate his game and start hitting that 3 ball more consistently, or they're just going to have to figure out a different lineup and start going to some of them other players that, when Mobley was out and he was injured, some of those guys stepped up. Like you mentioned, the Max Strus, I believe Dean Wade, some of those guys who were shooting the ball a lot more efficiently, adding more space, and playing off of someone like Donovan Mitchell, who's going to create his own shot and create for others. Well, if you're not there to, for the open catching 3, and you got 2 big guys standing in the paint, now Mitchell can't get to the rim as easily, can't draw the fouls, so clogs the paint. I think that's the big issue right now for the Cavs is they have to find out what they want to do offensively with Mobley and Allen. But I just think there's definitely, for me, 3 teams I think are clear and cut above the Cavs in the East right now, or maybe 4.
So Bucks,
I would say Celtics. To me, the Celtics are the best team right now in the East. Celtics, I will put the Bucks over them, the Knicks, and then the way the Heat are playing in the last couple games. And if we're talking postseason, they're able to flip that switch, Spoelstra coaching those guys. I think those 4 are definitely above the Cavs in terms of postseason success.
Breaking down
Or playing in the postseason.
Evan Mobley's stats. So this year so far, he's only shot 25 threes.
Exactly.
10 for 25. You look at past seasons, I mean, he put up 102 last year, shot at an atrocious 21.6%. Year before that, 25%, throwing up 92 threes. Obviously, he's only played in 33 games this season, so you'd assume that number's doubled, 20 for 50. I mean, not bad, for a big man. If he's able to give you 30% from three, I think that's ideally what the Cavs would like, because if he's hitting at that 30%, you got to respect him from out there in that range.
Hit it yet in his career, so
yeah, exactly. So
I mean, like he's gonna hit it this season.
He is shooting the best free throw percentage, 72% from the line, free buckets. But yeah, I agree. The two big men, you put them on the floor at the same time. You can't play without floor spacing. This isn't the 80s. You got to be able to space the floor. 4 out of 5 players on the court got to be able to shoot the rock.
Yeah, and that fifth guy has to maybe be able to knock it down if he's wide
exactly.
open. Yeah.
Either knock down the three, at least be capable mid-range. He could fall back a little, kind of like I won't even say Bam. He needs to start shooting threes after what I saw at the All-Star game. Got his Dwight bag. Hit a three. Everyone thinks he could shoot a three. But yeah, that's kind of all I got. You got anything else? Teams, players, anything like that? News? Actually, the ending of the Knicks game, Knicks Pistons last night, it caused some controversy at the no call on the loose ball, but I low-key thought there was even a foul before that. Before the loose ball, I thought there was a foul against the Knicks. They didn't call that one either. So, I mean, just a lot going on, man, officiating. And it's got to be frustrating for Pistons players. I mean, you can't even catch a break when you play a good game.
Yeah, I mean, officiating is just always going to be a thing now, especially I think not even in just basketball, but it's a big thing in football. I know in baseball they just had the rule changes, so officiating is a thing there as well. I don't watch soccer or anything like that, but I'm sure it's just as bad with officiating. Yeah. I think, with social media now, everyone can, go back and watch the video and watch the instant replay, and you go on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and you see everyone talking about a certain play. So I think officiating is definitely under a larger microscope now, so it's just going to be a thing. But maybe it was a makeup call for when the Knicks played the Rockets earlier, and Brunson got fouled, and they came out. I was like, clearly it was a foul. They didn't call it, and the Rockets ended up beating the Knicks, I believe. So it's just maybe it's
you can't give an 18 with a little break, man. I mean, those guys gotta be tired.
But yeah, the Pistons, and it's sad, bro. Like, I don't even think it's like the Wizards are just horrible. Like, yeah, I mean, talent-wise, the Wizards are bad. The Grizzlies, everyone is injured. They're playing 2-day contract players and stuff like that. When you look at those, like, really bad teams, the
Spurs
Pistons,
at least got Wemby.
Yeah. The Pistons have, like, some guys. They have decent players. K's, even that last game, he had a really good game. K's, he's showing flashes. They have Jaden Ivey. You mentioned Asar. Jalen Duren. He's a solid big man. Like, they have some talent. They have potential. But they also have Monty Williams, and that's a whole nother discussion. So, yeah, that's why they're.
At least he went to fight with his players last night, man.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe he should, should have played Jaden Ivey more instead of, since right before the All-Star break, or give Asar Thompson minutes instead of playing guys like Isaiah Livers and Marvin Bagley and James Wiseman. Like, at this point, like, come on, bro, what are we doing? Giving minutes to
I know
like, they should have got rid of Bogdanovich like 3 years ago. Like,
there's no point. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't putting in playoff minutes. That's kind of what you he's guy's gonna give you 15 minutes if you need. Like, he's not there to be a game changer. He's there to
especially at this point in his career.
Yeah, I agree, man. I know Jaden Ivey's your guy. You've been big on his assist over the years. Or last season, he said, "Go ahead and take Ivey's overs on assist every game." It was him, bro. So I can't hate. But yeah, if you got nothing else, man.
No, that's it. We pretty much covered everything going on right now. We didn't mention the Clippers. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the West, but we'll talk about them. As the season stuff goes on.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Suns, maybe a little trouble in Phoenix, but as the season goes on, we'll talk about these teams. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Also, shout out Shohei, had his first home run and in Dodgers action today. So showtime in LA, baby. The real LA team.
The Angels are a joke. So I mean, it's not hard to beat the Angels in pretty much anything. But the Dodgers are gonna do all that to lose to like
they're gonna get
80-win D-backs, bro. Like Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte. And, the Braves, bro. The Braves are looking right, man.
You probably won't even make it to play the Braves. Bats just disappear in October, bro.
Bats, arms. I mean, it's not like Shohei could pitch right now, so you're literally relying on. I think Clayton Kershaw has the worst postseason ERA of all time. I saw a stat that was really bad. I think it was last year.
It was good enough in 2020 though. I saw that
something else insane. He did get one, bro. I give him that, but yeah, we'll see, man. Guardians, man, that rotation looking nice, man. Happy for that. Marlins, they still need, a bat or something.
Didn't they just get, what's his name? Tim Anderson?
Yeah, they did sign Tim Anderson.
KTA?
$5 million. You basically got him kind of like a vet low right there. And coming off his worst season and him being a meme and quote-unquote locker room cancer.
Yeah, didn't he get knocked out? I remember that fight.
Oh, yeah. I was supposed to wear my shirt last Friday to work, man, after the Marlins signed him. Shout out Jose Ramirez, man. J-Ram and them boys up in Cleveland. Rotation, if they can actually stay healthy, 561 boy. Tristan McKenzie. You got fucking Shane Bieber. You got dogs all around the rotation. Gavin Williams came out last year. They just need to be able to put it together. We know those bats suck in Cleveland, but, that's all the baseball I'm going to throw out today. Maybe a little more as spring training progresses. We get closer to opening day, man. But that's going to wrap up episode 79 of the Goal to Go pod on TikTok. Goal to Go YouTube, like, comment, share, Apple, Spotify, whatever streaming site. And until next week, we'll be back with another episode, man. Peace.